Hey, what's up, everybody? 24 hours later, the dust is kind of settling. It's still not over completely. We could have a hit to the low here. So if we take a look at the price, we're at $2.47. If we look at the super small time frames, we could see we're still chilling, right? We're still, we had this big liquidation. We came all the way back up, and then we kind of settled. Now we're settling in. So we're settling in, and at the same time, it's Saturday, so it's not really going to be anything crazy in here. I still think, we could, because a lot of times, let me go up to the 2 hour chart, for example. Okay, you see the wick. You see this whole wick right here? A lot of times when you have a big crash, you get a retrace 50% or more of that wick. So that would put it, well, probably right around $2. So a $2 retest is certainly in the cards, especially because it stabbed it and it came right back up. So if this is just a retrace, and then we have some reaccumulation in here, right? Or this would be the retrace level right here. It's that or that. So those are the options. Now, what is the other option? The other option is, we hold the line in here. We hold it, and then eventually work your way out of there. So it's really hard to tell which ones are going to be. We came below, we came below this area right here. That's a very important, that's some strong stuff right there. So we're sitting right in that area. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come back and test 210, the lower part of this range. But what I wanted to show you guys is this right over here. First of all, let's look at this so we can see it. That's fine. So we could see we got our three-wave move working here, right? We have our impulse. We got a three-wave move, our flat, our expanded flat. So the idea is to continue, right? We're building a range. Hit the top, hit the bottom, hit the top, hit the bottom, then go. We've seen that many times in Bitcoin and other places. So if we look back over here, it's not the greatest example, I know, but it's still the result. The net result was pretty much the same, which is what? You have this massive move, right? It's the same kind of philosophy. A, B, C. This is right where Ripple got sued by the SEC. We had that massive capitulation. But look what happened after the capitulation, right? We had a fall, and initial fall, we came back up, and then we were going to come down, right? And here's our wick. Remember what we just talked about. We're going to test 50% of that wick. We came all the way down. We shot to the upside. We're coming down to test 50% of that wick. What happened? Boom, the floor fell through. But what that did is it created divergence. We built our base, we settled in, and then we broke out, and then we flagged out, and then we continued on. So I thought that was pretty cool. When that happened, right? We recovered, and look, the SEC, and look how powerful charts are, or just XRP in general, right? We got sued here, we crashed, but then all of a sudden we pumped all the way back up beyond where we got sued. So we were more valuable after the lawsuit than before the lawsuit. Explain that one to me. That's because it's more complex than we think it is. It's not clear cut and dry like, oh yeah, they have a lawsuit, so it cannot go up. No, it's still under the same laws of any other asset when referring to liquidity purposes. So remember, we were kind of looking at this example real quick, right? This flat, right? This flat. So you see that, right? I mean, you see the impulse, you see the three-way pullback, you see the impulse, you see the three-way pullback. I mean, it's just so coincidental, right? No, it's very interesting, and I have to tell you that this qualified as a violent move. I mean, we were just talking about that the other day. I didn't know it was going to happen. I'm not coming on here and saying, "Yeah, I told you this was going to happen." No. I'm just saying we discussed it, right? Because we had options. We had options. And what were the options? Well, this could have been flagging out to the upside and we could have broke out. But what did we talk about? We said it's probably not too likely because the shape of the flag. It was too much in a descending triangle formation. Not only that, you had a three-way move up, right? You had a three-way move up into descending triangle formation. That's very bearish. And we talked about that many times. But I still said there's still an opportunity that we could bust out of here, right? But the favoritism was to the downside according to descending triangle. If you Google what's the percentage, it's like 70+%, right? But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is how the wave came down. The wave came down extremely fast, extremely violent, extremely all of a sudden, right? And the reason that does that, and what that tells me is, you can say, well, that's a bad thing. No, that's a good thing, because that tells me that it's a C wave. That's what it tells me. It tells me that it's a corrective wave. It is an impulse, right? But it's correcting this move here, because why are we going through all of this? You know why? Because we did this. We went up and we partied like a rock star for like, a couple weeks. How long was that? Not long at all, right? It felt like we were on cloud nine every day. I mean, just think of the dopamine and the serotonin and the endorphins when you wake up and you look at your phone and you see for the last 30 days, right? We went up just massively, between, I would say between 30 and 70 days, despite that little correction in there. But really that first one was the big boy. 30 days of so much fun. And when did that occur, guys? When did that occur? It occurred at the beginning of November. Well, what's next month? Yeah, interesting. Next month is November, right? So, yeah, I mean, every day we woke up, another pump, another pump, another pump, another pump, another pump, another pump. And it was just like, dude, right? So, because we partied like that, because we went through that, now we have to suffer, right? Now you go to sleep and you wake up, and now what? Now you're hungover and you're just like blah, and you're in bed, right? You're just in bed, and until you go through the cycles of what your body needs to go through, right? Rest, rest, drink water, more rest, right? Whatever you have to do. No, it's just an analogy. I'm just an expression, but yeah. So, but look at this. So Coinbase, this is a Coinbase app, and Coinbase did not break the low, which is good. That's even better, because that could be more of a running flat type of look, whereas this one totally did. So if you kind of look at them both side by side, right? You had this little A wave, right? Come back up. Now this one was extremely violent. This was extremely bullish. It was massive. I get it, and that's an expanded flat, but or it's more of Yeah, it's an expanded flat. So you had this big move, right? And then you slam back down, right? And then you carry on. So what does this mean? What am I trying to tell you? I'm trying to tell you that it's not over until it's over. All right. We still have an opportunity. We still have a chance for this thing to get out of here. I would say we have more of a chance now than ever. This is our chance. This is our chance for this to be over with. Now, when I say over, it doesn't mean this minute, this day, this weekend. It could take time, right? We could come back down. We could test the bottom. We could float around a little bit. We could just, you know, we can even make a slightly lower low, but I wouldn't like that. But yeah, once that is over, we could be on our way. So I just want people to understand, like, just because we had this move doesn't mean that, oh, it's over, it's all over, you know. So the real issue, and it could be over, it could be over for a while, and let's talk about that for a second. But if it is over, then what we want to see is a break below this range. We want to see it break below. Okay, and then we want to see it come back up, and we want to see it retest. And if it rejects, it's over. And when I mean it's over, I mean it's over for a while. Because even though it's over, we're still going to $8. We're still going to $9. We're still going to $10. I mean, we're still doing that. It's not like nothing's changed, right? The goal is still the same. It's not like, oh, we crashed, so now it's over. No. It's over for now, right? Remember when Joe Biden won? It was over. But guess what? 4 years later, now we're back in control. So, it was over when Joe Biden stole the election. But then once this happened, once November 24 happened, look at the reaction, right? Because why? Because Trump is very important for crypto. We want crypto in the United States. We want regulation. We want people working on it. We don't want people delay like Gary Gensler, a slimy, crappy person that works for central banks that sole job was to stall the entire crypto movement so that his central banks could work on a counter insurgency, a counter attack, right? Like what? Like their central bank digital currency. Once that came out, then Gary would have started doing other stuff with crypto, but it would have been too late, right? The CBD would have taken over. It would have just been a disaster. So anyway, I digress. But so if it's over, then that means Bitcoin is over with. And that would be, so the biggest risk we have that the bear market is over is Bitcoin. So before I do that, real quick, when I come back here, if it is over and we're not going into a bull run after this wave, I'm referencing this wave here. So once that wave's finished, I'm saying there's a very good possibility we could continue. Let's take that off and let's look at it like this. So if this is 3 waves down, right, and then we come back up in 3 and we get rejected, and then we start coming back down again, that's kind of what I would see the next move. That's what the next move would be. Something like this. You come down, you kind of go flat a little bit, then you pump. You come down, you kind of go flat a little bit, then you pump. I don't think it's going to be that long. It's definitely not going to be that long. It'll be a lot fat. This right here was a long time. It's not going to take that long. I really doubt that. Remember, XRP's been building a base for the last 7 years. And we are expected to get an XRP ETF, guys. So what if this was just a shakeout? What if this was to scare retail out of the market, shake them out, have a cascading liquidation, make them lose hope, deleverage the market, reset the oscillators, reset the momentum, and then basically just carry on like nothing happened, like it always does, right? It carries on like nothing happened. I mean, look what happened over here. Anytime you have a sharp stab down, a sharp stab down, right? It's followed by a continuation. So XRP and Ethereum, very important that Ethereum is in that category. They're both postured. The posture is still very, very bullish on the larger term, right? If you ask everyone on crypto Twitter or whatever, I'm not really on crypto Twitter a lot. I vaguely see from time to time what people are feeling, how people are thinking. But I would assume that they're bearish after what happened, right? If you get crushed 40%, especially my Theta guys. And I'm going to talk to you about Theta in a minute. And I think what happened with Theta is a good thing long term, overall. Because if we would have pumped, right? I'm supposed to talk about Bitcoin next, but I don't. Oh, wow. Theta came up a lot, I think. Let me go to my other chart. Wow. Theta did come up a lot. It was at 20 cents and it went all the way back to 50, but you still have all this weight. Now we're underneath this. So I feel like we're going to have to spend some time down here and then work your way out. Because if Theta, what was the main idea with Theta? The main idea with Theta was 3 waves up, 3 waves down. We build a Wyckoff base, and we go up in 5. And that would have totally happened. See, Theta was positioned to do that. But what happened? We had a liquidation in the market. And what that means is, since Bitcoin came down the way it did, and it triggered XRP, XRP is a big player. So if XRP gets crushed, and it's one of the big altcoins, then what do you think is going to happen to the other altcoins? They're also going to get crushed, right? So it's all the way how liquidity flows and how, people's trades get called, margin call, whatever. It was a liquidation. It wasn't it wasn't like, 10,000 Theta holders decided to sell at the same minute. No, this was just a market event. This isn't like someone selling everything. It was a market event. So after the event is over, then you have the people who are buying like crazy buying, but you also have crazy people who are totally in fear and they're selling like crazy, right? Which I would never recommend you do in that environment, unless it's on a retrace. Not financial advice. Nothing I say is financial advice. I could be wrong. I mean, we got, this was my main idea. 3 up, 3 down, and we were going to get 5 up. Obviously, that was wrong, right? Obviously, that was wrong. But but that was one idea. It was the main idea, but what was the second? The second idea was we have your base, you have your impulse, you have your crash, or your A, you have a 3-wave B, it was a flat, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3. I don't know if that's 4 and 5. It's kind of hard. It could be a diag, a 5th wave diag, a 5th wave ending diagonal, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, and then that's your C. So theoretically, this could be, your A here, your B here, and your C here. I mean, it looks pretty, when you line up. I mean, it's ugly the way it's kind of shaped, but the outline of the way the line connects itself is actually kind of pretty. It's a nice shape. It's a shape that you would expect to see. So we have a 5-wave move here, right? And that's your wave 1, A, B, C. This is your wave 2. This is the lowest I think we're going to go. I think we're still going to play around at the lows here. I mean, because we're at 50 cents, but I don't know if we're going to. What was the low on this one? It was 20. Jeez, 20 cents. That, guys, this is a buying opportunity. Do you understand the all-time high? Do you understand the all-time high was at like $16? So do you think, as a Theta hardcore believer, do you think that we're ever going to go back to 16? Hell yeah. Okay, so where are we at right now? We're at 50 cents. So imagine if you bought. I'm not saying don't buy here. I mean, I haven't looked at the small time frames, but let's say you decided to buy right here at 51 cents. And then over time, maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes 2 years, but who cares? What else do we have to worry? What else are we doing? I mean, we're gonna have to live we're gonna have to live anyway for the next 2 years. So you know, might as well be in crypto, right? So if we go up to the all-time high, look at that. That's a 30x move. That's not even counting going further than that, which I highly believe, right? And this also changes. This changes the entire move here, the entire target. I think. Let me see. I don't know if it changes it too much. Let's see here. If I come down, let me make sure that's on locks, a linear scale. There we go. Let's put it there. Yeah, I didn't change it too much because if I come here, so the 4.236 extension was at $68. And then if I come down now, I come down to here. Now it's at $70. So it only changed the top target by $2, which is nothing. But on linear scale, it's a lot. So let's say we go up to the 1618, right? And maybe the 2.272 or somewhere in that zone. So let's get rid of that. All right. Look how this is massive. So if we're upset that the market crashed, that's fine. But then once you dust off and you look straight and you say, okay, what is the path forward? To me, the path forward is greatness. The path forward is bullishness. The path forward is retracements, right? That's the path forward for me. So because you have to think, is this going to go on forever and we're just going to crash and crash? Yeah, I mean, it could be, right? We could totally break this low. You know, if the market really wanted to get crazy, it could break the low. And then if it did break the low, then we would destroy our wave one. We have no wave one anymore. That was our wave one. So now we have no wave one, right? So hopefully that's not the case. But if you look, and let's say we come down a little bit further back to 34 cents and we manage to snag some up. Well, then if just going into a retrace, you're looking at a 6x. Just going back to the swing high there, you're looking at almost a 10x, right? To get back to the retrace high, you're looking at 2,500%. To get back to the all-time high, you're looking at almost 5,000%. That's a 50x just getting to the all-time high. Now, if we go up even further to the 1618, that's a 76x. If we go up even further, that's 100x, guys, from 34 cents to $36. That's 100x. I mean, come on. And you can say, yeah, but that's a long ways away. That's not gonna happen. I mean, you really think that? We believed it here. Why can't we believe it here? Well, because it looks worse. Actually, it looks better. Why does it look better? Because now we have a 3-wave move. Because what was the alternative before? If this was going to be 3 up, this was going to be 3 down, and then we would have went up in 5, that would have gave us our B wave up here. And then we would have still had to go C over here. That's the difference. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. So you have a 3-wave move. So you have 5, and then you have 3, whoops, and then you have 5. So you have a 5, 3, 5, A, B, C, and then reaccumulation, and then go up. So let me ask you, would you rather do that? Which I personally would at the time, but since we ripped the Band-Aid off and since it was so fast and furious, I'm like, well, let's just, since we're down here, let's just do it. Right? So now we can look at this as an ABC like this. Which decreases the amount of time theta needs to break above the all-time high. Let me say that one more time. Because this happened, because we had this crash, that specifically will shorten the time it will take for theta to get back to the all-time high. And most people would say, oh, how is that even possible? We were so much better off over here. But the problem with that is we didn't have a wave 1. We didn't have a 3-wave move completed. Now we do. You know, we have an impulse. We have a 3-wave pullback. I mean, it looks perfect. So we're flagging out, technically. We're flagging out. And now we need to build a base. And then we can start going up in the retrace. Now, we could still go into reaccumulation, right? If this is going to be more complex. For example, we could be like 3 down, and then we can go 3 up, and then come back down in 5. But that would just be so big compared to this wave 1. I just don't really, I don't know. I don't really see that. I guess we're just going to have to wait. So the idea here is let's settle in, let's build a base, let's retest the lows. You know, we're ranging from 20 to 50 cents, so that's a big range. So if we're at 50 cents today and then we drop down to 35 cents tomorrow, it's not like it's any worse. It's the same, basically. It's just settling in, right? So once we do that, then we can look towards a retrace. Because remember, I said full-heartedly that we will go back to here. Remember, I said that. I said we're going back into the retrace. I still believe it. Nothing's changed. I still believe that. We will go back up there. We will go back and retest that level. So once we get this settled in, I believe we're going back and retesting that. So provided that the C wave is finished. C has to be finished, right? So if it's not finished, for example, if this is 1, 2, and this whole thing is 3, it could be that whole thing is 3, and then we go up in 4, and then we come down for 5. And that's your C over there. And then we build a base, and then we go up. So it could also be that. So we have to be aware of that. It could also be that. I don't think it's going to take that long. I mean, that's a long time, honestly. That's basically all of 26. I mean, I am on the large time frame, so it's not really fair. So anyway, let's zoom in here. There's nothing here at all. I have to go to the other chart, and then I have to zoom in to the 15, the 5-minute. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing going on. I mean, you know what? It's actually more bullish than Bitcoin or I mean, it's actually more bullish than XRP, I think. You know, it came down, it went straight up, and it's holding the line. It's holding our base. So it could go 2 ways, you know. We could break out, or we can start to revisit the lows. You know, this kind of do something like this, and then start working your way down, and then, you know what I mean? It could retest some of that wick. So if we go back in time and we look at some big crashes, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that on this. So yeah, anytime you have a big liquidation event and you spring right back and you're just posted here, it's really hard to tell exactly where it's going, because we don't know how the event that happened yesterday, did that make people more bullish or did it make people more bearish? It made dumb money
bearish, but it made smart money buy. Okay? When do you buy, guys? When there's blood in the streets. When you have a bloody massacre mess, 20, 30, 40% down, oh my God, the world's ending. That's when you buy. So who bought? The big boys. Who's the big boys? The smart money, right? I guarantee you they bought. I guarantee they bought. There's no, look how much this thing went up off the low. This thing went up 150% off the low. You don't think those guys buy? In order to push the market 150%, you need more than retail to do it in a span of a couple minutes or a couple hours. So, yeah, they totally bought. Now, just because they bought doesn't mean that, we're all gravy. We could still revisit the low, and then they can reaccumulate, right? So what you could say is you have a crash, right? Which was accumulation. You bought, you come back up here in a retrace, and then you come down into reaccumulation. You reaccumulate, and then you continue. That's usually what happens. Now, this could keep going up. This could keep going up here for a little while. So we'll see how it plays. But did it do some damage to the chart? Yes. Did it do long-term damage? I mean, I would say more like medium-term. The big issue is the ugly thing with the chart is, come on, is, I can't even find it. This zone right here. We lost that zone. So to get back above that zone is going to be very hard. Very hard. Unless we could close above it, which I don't think, because we had a daily candle. We had a daily candle break below it, and it barely broke above it. So it went down and it quickly came back up. And usually when that happens, you're going to retest lower spots. So, yeah, so once we do test lower spots, I want to see us get back up here and break that base. And I think we will. You could even say like a shoulder, we have a head, we develop the head, get the shoulder, break out, get back up to here. If we take the length of this crash and go all the way to the top of where it actually crashed and put it right there, you could see it came pretty close. Now we had this little drop here, but that initial crash, it was pretty close. What about this one over here? This one was pretty good. So if you extend this, if you take the length of that and the length of that and the length of that, pretty much the same. So we can also, what we could do is you could take a trend. We're going to go back to XRP in a minute. We could take a trend line here, and we'll go back to here. Oh, look at that. So, yeah, we wicked through the 1618, the 2. I wish it was a little bit more precise, but, we hit those levels nonetheless. So, anyways, that's pretty much it for Theta. Let's do one more thing. Let's look at, so if you look at this, if we look at some big time frames, like let's just look at the 3-month chart for a second. If you look at this chart, this is the entire chart of Theta, from when Theta was a little baby to when Theta was now. And you can see when Theta opened up its price to the public back in 2018 on Binance, that's exactly where we went to. Isn't that interesting? So it basically went back to where we started, right? So we built our base, we broke out in a major impulse, and now we're having a 3-wave pullback.
and it looks super bullish. When you look at the 3-month time frame, it looks really bullish. Now, it's going to take time. You know, we might have another 3-month candle down here. Maybe another 3-month candle. That could be 6 months just for 2 candles, right? 4 candles equal a year. So this took a whole year coming up, but it took several years coming down, right? So now if we take, here's something really cool. Look at this. If we take a trend-based fib extension from the bottom, now this completely is going to change everything from this perspective. And we go to the top, and then we're going to come back to the bottom. And I think this is in log scale. It is in log scale. Let's take it off first and see what it looks like. So it actually is the same. It's literally the same as the other one. So it's not going to make too much of a difference. So I would say that $30 level is gold, right? I thought it was, you know, you can say, well, I thought it was higher. Well, that's the first target. Let's hit that target first, and then we can start talking, you know, $50, $60. I do believe at some point Theta will hit $50 or $60, and it's only 50 cents right now. So that could be life-changing money. This is a life-changing opportunity right now, right? So how does this change my overall thing? Like, for example, remember I was talking about swapping, right? Rotating, the art of rotation. Well, see, good thing I didn't rotate. If I did, I would have, you know, that's why you always wait until it's confirmed and then you rotate. So now I could theoretically rotate. I could sell 20% of my XRP right now, put it into Theta, don't even think about it, and in 5, maybe, hopefully not 5 years, but maybe 2 to 3 years, we could get back up here. Or maybe sooner than that, right? If it took a year to do that, it's going to take a year to do that. So that's 1 year. And maybe 3 to 6 months. So I would say about a year and a half. I would say a year and a half we could get up there. Now let's do something fun. Let's take this off and let's put it on log. So this is where it gets really crazy, guys. So let's just look at the 1-to-1. So basically it would be 80, it'd be $60 to $90, right around there. That would be a full 1-to-1 extension. If I take this off, there we go. Oh, you know what? It actually flips back to log linear scale when I do that. So, boom, 1, 2, 3. That would be insane. All right, let's get back to business here. So, dude, the 1618 is at $3,000. Is that possible? I don't even know. I don't even know what the market cap would be. I have no idea. Let's look at. So we go to Coin Market Cap real quick. Basically, we're up 230. We're only up. Theta was up like 20,000%. Now we're only up 231% out of its entire history. You can say, well, that's bad, but it's actually good because it means that, you know, if you're working at a job and you're making a paycheck every week, bro, this is your chance. This is your opportunity to stack them coins. You say, oh, I don't have any money. Well, you know, then it is what it is. I mean, do whatever you can because these prices aren't going to last. Now, that doesn't mean right this second because we're at 51 cents. I still think we can go, you know, between 20 and 50, right? So you got 30 cents, 40 cents in the middle. So let's look at this. So the max supply is 1 billion, the total supply is 1 billion, the circulating supply is 1 billion. Well, that's really good. The reason why that's so good is because we don't have to worry about any inflation. So there's no inflation with Theta. Actually, Theta is deflationary. So you know what? I'm actually liking Theta a lot more
than XRP right this second because it has so much more percentage potential. Yes, Theta has the most damage to the chart, but if you look past that, you have to ask yourself, are we ever going to have a bull run again? If you think we're never going to have a bull run again, you're something's wrong with you. Seriously. So eventually, yes, we will get another bull run. It's going to happen. It will happen. And knowing that it will happen, what can you do about it today in order to make your life a lot better in the future? You buy like crazy as much as you can, right? Dollar cost averaging. If you could buy, if we could stay below 50 cents for the next 3 months, bro, you and then after maybe a year and a half, we're back at retrace levels, $8, $9, $10. It's going to be life changing. That's like buying XRP at 51 cents and then it goes to $10. Who cares? XRP is only at $3. But guess what? Theta has more. Theta can go up to $20, no problem. There's no way. It's very unlikely XRP hits $20 this next cycle. It could probably hit $8, $9, $10. That's it. That's not a lot. But Theta can hit way more, like a lot more, and it's cheaper. It's only 51 cents. So 51 cents all the way up to, I don't know, $20, $30 versus XRP sitting at 250 and its all-time high could be 8 or 9. That's peanuts compared to Theta. So anyway, we have 1 billion tokens. And what is our market cap? We have a half a billion. Dude, the market cap's only a $500 million, bro. Wow. That's insane. So it's really cool that we have all of our circulating supply out right this second. So we don't have to. So for example, like XRP, they have the escrow account, right? And then they unload 1 billion coins on XRP holders each month. And that's no, I'm not knocking that. That's great. It's part of their business plan. It's part of their escrow. It's part of their whole model. It's their whole business model, right? But they're going to run out of coins eventually. Let's look at P. So if we look, now you compare that to XRP and look at this. Look at this, guys. So the circulating supply is only 60 billion. So that means we have 70, 80, 90, 100. We have 40 more billion dollars, we have 40 more billion coins in circulation. That's a lot. That's 40%. That means there's only 60% of the supply in everyone's hands. That means there's still another 40% out there that Ripple owns that they're going to unleash 1 billion each month. So, but Theta is complete. And it's only 1 billion coins, guys. So XRP, you have 100 billion coins. Theta, you only have 1 billion coin. XRP, you're at $2.50. Theta, you're only at 50 cents. I mean, oh my God. Am I the only one seeing this? Is it too good to be true? Is it way too good to be true? I don't know. Do you believe in Theta? Do you think it's a viable business? Do you think it's a good situation? Do you think what they offer is? Let me know in the comment section. Go to Theta website and look at their 5 or 10 year plan. I mean, you tell me. So is it payments? No. Payments is king, right? Payments is where all the money is. Grandma makes payments. Uncle makes payments. Cousin makes payments. Neighbor, friends, family. Everyone makes payments. So that's why payments are king. What Theta does is also very usable, but not as much as payments. But so anyways, Theta is, in my opinion, breathtakingly attractive. Not necessarily right this second at 51 cents, but would I dollar cost average in Theta? Absolutely. So I mean that very strongly. Now look, The market cap is $150 billion. THETA's market cap is $0.5 billion. That's a big difference. Okay. So I think some of these coins are going to. So no, now XRP to me is no longer interesting compared to a lot of these other coins. But I'm just talking percentages. I'm talking percentages. Unless XRP goes to $100, I don't really see big percentages from XRP anymore. You know, I still hold it. It's still my biggest holding. It's XRP is still my biggest holding. And you're just like, well, you just told me Theta. Well, give me some time here. I'm going to be rotating, right? I have to do this logically because we still might have another low, right? If we go back to the Theta chart, this could still be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We don't know that. That's why I can't go all in right now. It'd be stupid, right? But look at the difference between XRP here. So if I pull up XRP, let's go up to the 2-month chart or 3-month chart rather. Let's put it right there. And then we're gonna, is this on the 3-month? Yeah, it's on the 3-month. And let's get rid of everything. This is gonna be fun. Hold on, don't go anywhere. Look at this. There we go. Okay. So if we look at these two charts, obviously XRP looks a lot more bullish because it's threatening to break into all-time high, but Theta also looks extremely bullish because it now has a proper 3-wave shape. I didn't think we were going to get that shape unless we had some crazy liquidation, in which we did, right? So but what I'm saying here is look at the percentages. Let me show you this right. Tools, where's my tools? Where's the other ones at? No, I want to go right here. Here we go, price range. So if I go from where we are right now, and let's say we get up to, I don't know, $12, and that's being gracious right there, $12. That would be, and what happened to it? That would be, 400%, 400%. Okay. So that's all I can get. That's all I can get out of XRP. That's it. Between 200 and 400%. That's it. Right? Unless we go to like $30. Let's say we do go to $30. I highly, highly doubt it. Let's say we go to 20. That's 800%. Let's say we go to $50. Okay. That's 2,000%. That's really good. That's really good. That's a 20x. Okay. So it's not going to $50, but if it did, that'd be pretty sweet. If Trump comes out with Ripple and they shake hands and they have a partnership, oh my God, we could go to $100, right? If we have some BlackRock deal or some, we still have the ETF. Look, XRP has a lot more ammunition than Theta does. Let's just be real. But the percentages are just not as attractive as what Theta can be, right? Because remember, this is a $150 billion market cap. This is a $500 million market cap. Massive difference. So we take the same little guy here, and let's say I'll be even conservative with it. I'll start it right here. I really want to start it like in the middle of the wick, because I think we will go back down there. So I'll start it at 40 cents. Okay. And if we go up just back to the swing high, just that alone, guys, is 800%. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, what's more likely? Now let me show you this real quick. Let me show you Theta. Let's zoom in to the weekly. Okay. So remember, we had this we're going back here into a retrace, right? So once this figures itself out, we're going to eventually go back up here. So when we do that, that's going to be 800%. That's big, right? Now, we're not going to just stop there. At some point in Theta's life, we will go back to the retrace block, right? Which is this block right here, the block, right? So that's 2,000%. That's a 20x move. So versus that. So what do you? Let me ask you this: what do you think is more likely? XRP hitting $50 or Theta retracing back to the swing, back to the retrace block? What's more likely? Obviously Theta, right? Because it's done it before. So, and we have no all the supply is out there. So we don't have to worry about new coins being created or flooding the market or screwing anything up. Right? Now let's take it even a step further and go up to $30, which I think at a minimum, if we could break above the all-time high, at a minimum we're going to $30. That's an 8,000% move. That's an 8,000% move. So, what is that? 80x? That's an 80x move, guys. Just going to $30. So, now let's go back to XRP. There's no way in hell XRP, let's say, XRP would have to go to like $200, guys. It would have to go to like $200. So if you think, which one do you think is more likely to happen? XRP going to $200, which is insane, or Theta going to $33, which is basically just a 1618 extension. So that's the power of percentages, right? And I was going to make this kind of a members video, but I'm going to do a special members video this week going over rotational plans, going over percentages, and looking at how we can get the best deal out of what we've been handed. So anyways, let's look at Bitcoin now before I run out of time. So I did an hour video yesterday. I'm doing another hour video today. So Bitcoin dominance looks great. We got rejected here. So that's always good. We wanted to get rejected. So let's see if, this comes down, right? That's what we want. We want it to continue coming down. As long as we don't break the high, we're okay. So I did not look at the Theta small. Yeah, I did. I looked at the small time frames. We looked at XRP, Litecoin. Good thing I got rid of my Litecoin yesterday because, man, it came down a little bit there. Ethereum looks good right here. It looks like a more planted base. It looks like it has a higher chance of holding that low compared to some of the other ones. Right? Ethereum is also a very big contender at breaking into new all-time highs at some point. I mean, look at this. Look how long it's taken. I mean, Ethereum hasn't even went on a bull run yet. That's how you know, like, why would we just barely go into a bear market if nobody went into a bull market? The only coin that went into a bull market was Bitcoin. So is this bull run a Bitcoin-only bull run? Or are we not going to get an alt season, right? We didn't get an alt season last time. So you're saying to me we're not going to get an alt season this time? I doubt it, right? Look how long this has been working since all of these years down here, right? This has been going to the bottom, back to the top,
back to the bottom, right? It created a flat. It created a running flat, a three-wave move. Now we have an impulse. Now we're back at all-time highs, right? You can see this is a very, very, very key area, right at all-time highs. Now let's go to let's see, that's the 5-day chart. All right, let's go to the 5-day chart on Ethereum, XRP. I mean, let's do the 8-day chart because it's a little bigger. Get rid of that. So look at the difference. Look how insane this looks, guys. These are the two kings. These are the alt kings. There's no other alt kings other than Ethereum and XRP. These are the two head honchos. There's nobody bigger than them. Not even close. Right? Is that like, that's how Trump would say it. So we have our base right here. XRP and Ethereum, they're the best altcoins. The highest market cap ever. It's not even close. Man, I wish I could do a better job at impersonating, but look at this. So we had our rallies. We had our crashes. We had our retraces. Now, these are at different times, dude. These are at different times. Look, this is going back to 20. You see my cursor? Okay. My cursor is right here on the top. But that means my cursor is right here. This is the same day, basically, right? So XRP has taken way longer, which is even more of a reason. XRP hasn't went into price discovery in eight years, guys. It's been 7-8 years since so don't tell me we're going into a bear market. I mean, we could go into a mid-cycle correction. That's fine. But a bear market, I mean, we've never left the old bear market. We're still in the original bear market. So when people say, oh, we're going into a bear market, no, we've been in a bear market. We haven't been in a bull market yet. This is why I think this is a trap. This is why I think this is fake. This is why I don't believe it. This is why I think everyone's going to get scammed. Yes, Bitcoin looks terrible. The biggest problem, the biggest thing is that the bears have going for them is Bitcoin. Bitcoin does look bad because it's gone so high up. The altcoins need to hurry up. That's why I say altcoins need to hurry. Let's go before Bitcoin crashes. Bitcoin is hanging on a cliff. And he's like, come on, guys, I can't hold on any longer. Come on. And the altcoins are like, just a little bit longer. I don't want to come out of my cave yet. And Bitcoin's like, hurry up, I can't hold on any longer. I'm going to fall. And if I fall, you guys are screwed. So, yeah. So we have a flat. Right? 3, 3, 3, 3, right? We have a flat right there. We have an explosion to the upside, right? And now we're flagging out at all-time highs. This is literally the same chart. It's just different. It's scaled differently. This is way bigger than this. Twice as big. Twice as big. So how could we go into a bear market if we've been in a bear market? So this is a bull market right here, and then the bear market started. So we're in a bear market. We are in we haven't went into a bull market yet. Once we break out, that's when we go into a bull market. Okay, and that's when everyone's going to say, oh, we're just getting started. No, but now the bull market's not going to last that long. If we do break out, we're probably going to shoot up pretty strongly, and that would be it. So yeah, it looks really good right here. So if we look at some percentages, the highest I could see Ethereum going is like 17,000 or so. And by the way, both of these coins still have a uncirculated supply, I think. I don't let me check Ethereum. So I haven't looked at Ethereum in a long time. See, that scares me. The max supply is infinity. That tells me that in 300 years, they could still be printing Ethereum. So
Okay, so the total supply is 120 and the circulating supply is 120 million. All right, so I guess that's fine. I guess it's, there's no more coming in, which is good. Yeah, so will Ethereum ever make more coins? I asked. It says, well, Ethereum will always issue new coins. It does not have a fixed supply like Bitcoin or XRP or Theta. Keep that in mind, right? So you can read all the blah, blah, blah stuff, right? Whatever. So if you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate it. We just passed the hour mark. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we pretty much got everything out of there. We still haven't even looked at Bitcoin yet. I mean, come on, let's look at Bitcoin already. When normal people do TA like BCB, he doesn't ever look at XRP. He never looks at it. He doesn't look at individual altcoins. He only looks at the stock market, Bitcoin, and vaguely some XRP. And I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. Obviously, he thinks because, well, it doesn't matter to look at it. There's no point in looking at XRP when Bitcoin's controlling the show, and that is true to a certain extent. But we can't ignore what Bitcoin has done or XRP has done over the last 8 years. So we have 7 waves up. We're scary over. We're pretty high up there. We got some bearish divergence. You can see that. Even on the 8-day chart, we have triple bearish divergence here. So it looks really bad. It looks like, and this is the cool thing about it. If this goes into a retrace, for example, if Bitcoin crashes, let's say Bitcoin comes down and crashes, right? Okay, we have a crash. Right. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just copy this crash right here. I'm going to take a line and I'm going to put it right there. I'm going to go all the way down and I'm going to take that line and I'm going to put it right there. So that's the size of the potential crash. I don't think it'll be that big because it's higher up there. So it's going to be a different percentage. But let's say we have the crash. And then what happens to Theta? Theta goes back and retests 20% or 20 cents or whatever. But what happens is we're going to get a retrace. And if we get a retrace, this is where the alt season comes in, by the way. If we get a retrace, so here's 2 things that could happen. We get a crash and we continue higher. Or we get a crash and we go into a retrace. And then that's when XRP breaks out. That's when Ethereum breaks out. That's when Theta retraces as well. Right? Because if you go back over here, and you look at Theta, when did Theta break out? Right? Theta broke out right there. And when was that? The top of Bitcoin was already in. Here's the top of Bitcoin right here. And that's when Theta exploded. So if this is the top, right? Let me get rid of that. If this is the top here, then we could see something similar. But a lot of times too, let's go back over here and let's put on XRP, for example. So you got to look at the 2-day chart maybe. And if we go right here, you could see right here. This is what I'm talking about right here. So let's pretend Bitcoin is right there. And then Bitcoin crashes. Okay, and then Bitcoin goes up in a retrace. All right. Okay, so during the retrace, that's when XRP exploded into the stratosphere. Look, you can see it right there. So if I put it right there, so basically that's what happened to XRP after Bitcoin went into a retrace. So if we go back and we look right here, right? And let's say Bitcoin crashes, right? It comes down, it crashes, and then it comes back up in a retrace. I'm going to have to draw it on. I'm going to have to draw it like this. So we come down, let's say we come down real quick like that, and then we go A, B, C, like a retrace like that. Okay, perfect. And then we put XRP on here, right? So you can see the retrace, right? So theta, Bitcoin crashes, but Bitcoin hasn't crashed yet. See, that's the problem, right? But let's just, the benefit of the doubt, we're up here. Let's say we come down and retest or make a slightly lower low, right? Remember, Bitcoin dominance could be going down as Bitcoin goes down, right? And then when Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin dominance accelerates even further, but it usually is the opposite, right? So during the retrace, so we have the flat right here, we have an impulse, we have a flat, and the idea is we want to break out and to go new all-time highs. So if Bitcoin comes down and then we retrace, we could totally do that because it happened last time. That's basically it. So let me get rid of that. So let's get rid of that. Oh yeah, the Lucid Stars. I haven't seen these in a while. All the Lucid Stars have already broke. You know what? The 8-day just came up. The weekly has broken. I haven't looked at those in a while. Oh, the bull market's... Oh! The bull market support band. What the hell? I haven't even... Okay, so the bull market support band, look at this. We're still on the bull market support band. So that's still good. XRP has completely lost the bull market support band. But, we lost it here. So all we have to do is get back above it. Let's see if that's possible. Go back to Bitcoin. This is real work. We're doing real chart work here. Come on. So it's not easy as just looking at it and saying, okay, we got to do some work. So yeah, I don't think it's finished. It doesn't look like a finished move. It looks a little bit sad, especially because, if we connect this line here, I think it works. I don't know if it was this line or if it was on, I think it was on, yeah, well, wait. So from here to there. So you could see that, right? You could see the line still way up there if we were to go up and tag it. But if we go to regular scale and then we arch this back, look at that. That's a perfect hit, guys. Look at that. So that is a perfect hit right there. And that's what's really scary about this, right? Every time we hit this line, we go into a massive bear market. So we hit the line, we go into a bear market. We come up, we hit the line, we go into a bear market. We come all the way up with a rising wedge. We smack that right there. Guess what? We could probably go into a bear market. If we go into a bear market, then what happens to the altcoins? Well, they can literally be obliterated, right, during that time. And that could be the great altcoin reckoning, right? Remember the theory that a lot of people suggest that a lot of the altcoins have to go to zero, or at least a lot of the scams, that could probably do it right there. So, but if that were to happen, then how would XRP fare, even though it hasn't went on a bull run yet, right? It would be a little bit difficult. I would assume, it would have to come down a little bit, right? And then come back up. I would think it would be more of a mid-cycle correction than anything. So, but yeah, it does look toppy here. You come up, you're flipping green, red, green, red, green, red, right? You're flipping up here. So that's usually a bearish sign. So, but if we zoom in, it's still corrective, right? It could still be like 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then we have 1, 2, 3. We're going to get 4 and then 5, and that's going to be your 3. And then let's see if we could get a bullish November, right? Remember, 1 year ago, we had a very, very, very bullish November,
extremely bullish November. So let's see if we can get another bullish, at least a retrace, right? Obviously, we have the government shutdown going on and other things like that. So, yeah, Bitcoin's definitely, it's tough to read right here, but it actually looks okay right here. It actually, it's a lot different than the altcoins because Bitcoin's hanging out at the low. But if we go to like XLM, we have this big wick here, or even better, XRP. Look at that wick right there versus Bitcoin being down primarily at the low. So that shall do it for the video. If you want to stick around, maybe we can look at a few altcoins here. Whoa, dog is up 20%. Yo, dog, what's up? 20%. Don't look like 20%. Yeah, this one's, that one took the low, I think. Yep. So it can't be a 1-2 anymore. Right? We were looking at this like a 1, 2, and then a 1, and then a 2. But we're down at the lows here. Nobody really cares about that one anyway. But Monero, I don't really like this wave here. You have 3. Is this A, B, C? I still think another move down is coming. So, because if we're expecting Bitcoin to go into a bear market, then, a lot of these other coins are going to get destroyed. But a lot of them are already destroyed. A lot of them are already, like, look at this one. It's been in a bear market for a long, long time. Since 2021. So it's just been going down, down, down. And Bitcoin already went into its bull market, and it's already, so that's why we really want to see a super cycle out of Bitcoin. Look, look. Let's not forget why crypto is here. The Fed is still going to print money. The Fed is still going to lower rates. Once the cutting cycle is over, the stock market's going to keep going up. They're going to continue to inflate. The central banks are going to continue to inflate, right? So if you ask me, this is just, if we can come down into a correction. And one thing that I haven't really considered too much is that this right here is a flat. A, B, and then we're going to come down and get C. And I really like that because it makes some sense, because I never really had a 5-wave move out of this, right? It was so here we go. We have 3 waves. I really like this a lot. Let's look at it. And this would explain a few things. One of them being bullish, like, if Ethereum and XRP are at the verge of a monumental breakout into a price discovery, but Bitcoin is at the end of its cycle and it's about to go into a bear market, how do we explain that? Well, we can explain it with a flat. You have 3 waves down, boom, and then you have, this is also a flat. You have 3 waves up. Actually, no, whoops. Actually, there's 2 ways. The first way is 3 down, 3 up, and then this is 1, 2, and now we're going to get 3 or 5 down. And this right here is going to be a flat. Boom, boom, boom. And then we can continue the bull run. And if we got that, I think that would be really, really interesting. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be a wave 1. And then we have 3. Oh yeah, look at this, guys. 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be A, B, C. Right there. And then we continue the bull run. And what this ended up being was not a bear market, but rather a mid-cycle correction. See, everyone's expecting a bear market, a bear market, a bear market. And yeah, I think we will be bearish for a while, but I think this could be a flat.
The other alternative is even more interesting, but less likely. But it's 3 down. We have 3 up. That's an expanded flat. And then we have 1, 2, 3. And it's a weird flat. So that's a flat. That's a flat. So it's a W, X, and a Y. Just like that. Right? We come back down to this level. We build a little bit of a base, and then we continue up. And then it flushes out all the leverage, and then we just continue balling. So what do you guys think about that? As far as Ethereum on the small time frames, I don't really like it a lot. I mean, it's okay, I guess. I don't know. Like, it's kind of hard to read because I'm not sure if this is the 3, like A, B, and then C, or if it's like A and then B and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really hard. Ethereum is really tough. You know, you got these little spikes here. You're cupping down, you're cupping down, you're cupping down, you're cupping down. So it's bearish. So, at least for the short term, right? So let's see if we could get a little bit of a pullback and then a continuation, right? You know, if you're trading, you can make money shorting it, right? You can make money shorting it, but I wouldn't be doing anything crazy right in here. It's definitely, THETA's up 7%. What's Algorand? I haven't even looked at all the charts yet, really. You know what? Algorand looks interesting because it has, okay, so Algorand has the 3, right? So you have an impulse, 3-way pullback, right? So this could be a 1-2, another 1-2. It could be a 1-2, 1-2, guys. Look at CRV, guys. We have a 3-way pullback here. So H-bar, have not looked at H-bar. Oh, H-bar looks good. H-bar, you know, you got 3, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. I mean, dude, everywhere I look, you're getting these massive 3-way pullbacks. So I think it's bullish. Now Link, I don't really like the way Link looks. It would look better if it was like, well, maybe it is. Maybe it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then A, B, C. So 1 and then 2, and then this is 1, 2, and then this is another 1, 2, and we're still going to rampage up to the 3rd. Or it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, and then we still have to see it and then go up. I like that one. ICP. Ooh, so ICP can no longer be a 1, 2 anymore. We broke the low, but you know, it does look like kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, I mean, we're at all-time lows for ICP. I mean, anytime that happens, it's, I would imagine, a decent buying opportunity. AVAX got obliterated. We saw that, remember we talked about that rising wedge. We did not like it. Shiba. So SHIB doesn't have the sexy look it used to, but it's still okay. You know, I really liked SHIB's 3-way pullback. It's a little bit of a base, right? You break the base, but it's like a quick liquidity grab, and then we continue on. So that's what I think's playing out here. I think we're going to get something like that. So I could be wrong, and I'm allowed to change my mind once we get other data coming in. So the market cap of XRP still looks great. Still looks okay. It's, you know, it's nothing's great about it, but you know, we do have that 3-way move there. So let's see if that can seal the deal. Just kind of looking at some random charts, just kind of getting a feel of what's going on. That could be a WXYXZ. So it could still be a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. XDC has a good 3-wave shape. It's got a little bit of a flat and then a C wave. ABC, impulse, 3-way pullback. I mean, come on. This is good stuff, right? Boom.
trash. THETA, trash. Damn, THETA just got well, look at what happened. It was bottlenecking. Boom, 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 drop. So it's probably over, at least in the near term. Haha, see what I did there? Near. Okay, that's my wife's sense of humor, but near looks, I don't know. I guess you could say, you know what, near could be totally a Wyckoff pattern now that I see it. Yeah. So this was the proper Wyckoff pattern I was looking for theta and SHIB. But coincidentally, we got it for near, where you come up here, you get your little creek, and then you slam the low, you get the liquidity grab, you curl back up, you play around at the high, and then you break out. That's total Wyckoff right there. Wyckoff accumulation. Bitcoin looks like Wyckoff distribution though. So we could still have some pain in the short term, Something like this, it could still get a big scary drop in here. XRP versus Bitcoin looks completely insane. Filecoin, new all-time lows, completely just got obliterated here. I'm waiting for that one to give me a better warm and fuzzy feeling. Dogecoin, XLM looks good. Aave looks really good. Look at that. Look at that three-way move right there. That's a beautiful flat right there. So you built a base, you broke out, you went to the retrace, and then you had this three-wave sort of flat here. So unless we decouple from Bitcoin, I don't see how, we need something to kick off the alt season. We need something big to really solidify the alts, because I don't think they're going to be able to do it on their own. Zcash, wow, look at Zcash. Zcash is still balling like a baller. Look at it. Damn, I would have been such a really good one to own. Damn. It's too late now, man. I don't want to chase that. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting that. So. We didn't look at the stock market, did we? QNT, XDC. All right, let's go back. Let's go to stocks. Silver, $50. We talked about silver. Silver looks crazy. This is years and years and years and years and years and years and years in the making. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for the Russell. Ooh, the Russell's down 4%. So we did get smacked down a little bit. We got spanked. So the dollar, the King Daddy dollar, spanked us off the Russell there. So what I would say is we still are above that, but we're sort of in that little limbo stage. So it does look kind of bad. It's coming down. But look how many green candles we had, guys. I mean, come on. I mean, these are 10-day candles. Look, green, 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 green. A little bit of red, green, 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 green. I mean, you have all of these green candles. We get one red candle and we freak out. Come on. So I think what's playing out here is we need a little bit of a correction. Let's flag out a little bit, right? And then let's continue pumping. So I still think it's very bullish. The Russell, right? Remember, BCB thinks if the Russell breaks out, altcoin should go. Well, I think the Russell will break out. Why will it break out? Because you have 3 down, you have 3 up, and then you have a fast and violent C wave. Remember we were just talking about our C wave for XRP, right? here. Look, same thing. So you could see, right, we have A, B, and look at this. You have a fast and violent C wave. Same thing here. A, B, C. Look at that. Fast and violent C wave. But what happened after the C wave? What happened after the violent C wave? Well, look what happened. We exploded all the way back to the top. So that's like we coming down and we're going all the way back to the top, and now we're going to flag out in here and then break out, hopefully, just like that. You see what I mean? So not all hope is lost. In crypto, you got to understand things move in cycles, things move in waves. It's all about timing. It's all about time cycles and how everything moves together. So if you think, oh, I missed it, or oh, it's too late, then you're wrong, because there's always going to be another opportunity. There's always going to be another bull run. There's always going to be another all-time high, because the Federal Reserve keeps printing money. So they're going to be cutting rates. So, crypto is still in its infancy. We still need better, and we need more regulation. We need implementation. We need utility. I mean, there's still a lot of ammunition to look forward to. The XRP ETF, right? A THETA ETF even. So there we go. I'm just filling in the last pieces here. There we go. So we have another kind of fractal here. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. I've already gone on long enough. So I appreciate everybody. Remember, not financial advice. And if you can hit the like, subscribe, drop a comment, and I will catch you guys. If you have any requests, if you want me to look at any charts, let me know. If I don't see your comment, post it on the next video. I'll eventually see it. I got littered with spammy types of comments. There's a lot of spam in the comments. I hope you guys understand that. I could completely delete it, but then it's just so much work, and I really don't care, honestly. I mean, but I can see the legit comments. I could totally tell from the legit, and then if you're a member, you're highlighted on your comments. So yeah, and then look out for a members video sometime this week. We're going to talk about rotations and plans and figuring things out. Continue figuring it out. So all right, I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.